We've seen many answers to prayer through the years at One Mission Society. And we've also seen many answers to prayer as people have been involved in going and praying in the countries that we work in. We have seen in the prayer initiative, we have 11 countries right now that are presently represented in the prayer initiative. And 2 of those countries have been very hard ground for missionaries, and that is Spain and Uruguay. Missionaries have toiled many years in those countries, and we have seen, since the prayer initiative began, we have seen God move in powerful ways through the prayers of His people. In Spain, we have a testimony from one of the missionaries there that they have seen since prayer teams started coming, and there has been intentional targeted prayer for the country and the ministries there. We have seen fruit in the last 2 years that have far surpassed the previous 25 years. We have seen people that have been so resistant to the gospel now being involved and wanting to be a part of that. On one of the prayer teams we took to Spain, we met with members of the Charmartin Church, and we explained prayer walking to them. We explained the prayer initiative, and they decided that night, it was on a Saturday evening, they decided after that fellowship that they would break up in groups and they would go and prayer walk the neighborhood around Charmartin Church. They were gone for about a half an hour, and as they came back, we joined together and closed in prayer. The next day, on Sunday, there were 6 people who came from the neighborhood that had never been to the church before. And that neighborhood had not been reached by the church. Most of the people that came to the Charmartin Church were from outside of that neighborhood. And for the first time, the people at that church saw the real power of prayer. And they saw God moving through their prayers in asking for people in that neighborhood to come to the church that they could minister to. We've also seen powerful things happen in Uruguay. When One Mission Society began their work in Uruguay, I remember the missionary there telling me a story that they called Uruguay the graveyard of missionaries, because the average length of service there for a missionary was about 4 years, just because of the discouragement that they felt and the oppression that they felt in working there. And that was the same case as our missionaries began working there. They also felt that same discouragement and oppression. But as we send prayer teams there and a prayer champion was raised up, all of a sudden we saw that the culture around our missionaries and the culture around the church there began to change. And instead of people just cutting missionaries off when they started to talk about the gospel, we've actually seen in the last year or 2 people coming to them to seek guidance and come to them with many questions that they were looking for answers to. And it has opened up a whole new opportunity for them to share. So as we see people going and walking and encouraging and praying for the people in the countries that OMS is working in, we see that God is a God that answers prayer and moves through the prayer of His people to advance His kingdom.